Kashmir is a land of breathtaking beauty. Kashmir is a land of breathtaking beauty. Kashmir is a land of breathtaking beauty. It is often called paradise on earth. The region is located in the northernmost part of the Indian subcontinent. It is nestled within the mighty Himalayan mountains, snow-capped peaks, lush green valleys, clear rivers, serene lakes. For centuries, its stunning landscape has inspired poets and attracted travelers. But, its beauty hides a complex and often painful history. The region is more than just a picturesque landscape. It is a place of immense strategic importance. Its location places it at the crossroads of South Asia and Central Asia. The importance of Kashmir is not just about its beauty, it is also about geography and resources. The region borders several countries including India, Pakistan, and China. This makes it a critical buffer zone and a point of strategic interest for these major powers. Control over Kashmir means control over vital mountain passes and trade routes. Furthermore, the region is the source of several major rivers of the Indus River system. These rivers provide essential water for agriculture and life to millions of people in both India and Pakistan. Before the division of British India in 1947, Jammu and Kashmir was a large princely state. It was not directly ruled by the British. It was one of over 500 such states that had their own rulers. These rulers had treaties with the British Crown. The state of Jammu and Kashmir was formed in the mid-19th century. The British sold the Kashmir Valley to the Dogra ruler of Jammu, Gulab Singh, through the Treaty of Amritsar in 1846. Gulab Singh, the Dogra ruler. This event brought together the diverse regions of Jammu, the Kashmir Valley, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan under a single Dogra dynasty. This dynasty would rule the state for the next 100 years until 1947. The society of the princely state was diverse. The Kashmir Valley was predominantly Muslim. The region of Jammu had a Hindu majority. Ladakh was largely Buddhist. Despite these religious differences, the various communities had coexisted for centuries. The year 1947 was a turning point for the Indian subcontinent. The British Empire withdrew. The land was partitioned along religious lines. The secular but Hindu-majority India, the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Partition caused widespread violence and one of history's largest mass migrations. In the middle of this chaos was the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. Maharaja Hari Singh found himself in an impossible position. He delayed his decision, hoping to negotiate independence. That hesitation would have dire consequences. As the Maharaja wavered, events on the ground moved quickly. In October 1947, thousands of Pashtun tribesmen invaded Kashmir. They came from Pakistan's northwest frontier province. They were supported by elements within the newly formed Pakistani state. The official reason? To help their Muslim brethren overthrow the Hindu ruler. The invaders moved rapidly, capturing several towns, and heading towards the capital, Srinagar. The Maharaja's small state army was unable to stop their advance. Facing the collapse of his kingdom, Hari Singh made a desperate appeal to India. India agreed to provide military assistance, but on one condition. The Maharaja had to formally accede to India. On October 26, 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh signed the Instrument of Accession. The next day, Indian troops were airlifted into Srinagar to push back the tribal invaders. The ceasefire of 1949 did not bring lasting peace. It only froze the conflict in place. Kashmir became the central point of contention between India and Pakistan. The two nations went to war again in 1965. This war was initiated by Pakistan under a plan called Operation Gibraltar. The goal was to infiltrate forces into Indian-administered Kashmir, to incite an uprising against Indian rule. However, the plan failed. The local Kashmiri population did not rise up as expected. The conflict quickly escalated into a full-scale war across the international border. The war ended in a stalemate after a few weeks, following international pressure and a UN-mandated ceasefire. Another major conflict occurred in 1971. It centered on East Pakistan's push for independence, Bangladesh. That war also affected Kashmir. India achieved a decisive military victory. After the war, leaders met in Simla and signed the Simla Agreement in 1972. Both sides agreed to resolve differences through peaceful bilateral negotiations. They agreed to respect the 1971 ceasefire line, renamed the Line of Control, the LOC. The Simla Agreement shifted the dispute to a bilateral framework. It reduced the role of third-party mediators like the UN. The late 1980s marked the beginning of a dark and violent chapter in Kashmir's history. A widespread insurgency against Indian rule erupted in the Kashmir Valley. There were several reasons for this uprising. Many Kashmiris felt that their political rights had been eroded. They believed the 1987 state assembly election was rigged. This caused loss of faith in the democratic process and political alienation. Young, educated Kashmiris who felt they had no voice began looking for other ways to express dissent. This unrest gave fertile ground for militancy. The insurgency received support from Pakistan. Pakistan provided arms training and financial support to militant groups. Thousands crossed the line of control into Pakistan-administered Kashmir for training. When they returned, they brought weapons and a new, violent ideology. Many groups initially sought independence for Kashmir. Over time, groups with radical Islamist agendas also emerged. The political movement became an armed struggle. The impact on the people was devastating. The valley became a battlefield. The beautiful valley became a valley of tears, filled with fear, grief, and uncertainty. And a major shift in the status of Jammu and Kashmir occurred on August 5, 2019. The Indian government, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, made a historic and controversial decision. It revoked Article 370 of the Indian Constitution. This article had granted a special, semi-autonomous status to the state of Jammu and Kashmir since 1949. It allowed the state to have its own constitution, its own flag, and autonomy over most matters, except for defense foreign affairs communications. This special status was a key part of the terms under which the princely state had acceded to India in 1947. The removal of Article 370 was a fulfillment of a long-standing promise of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. The government argued that the article was a temporary provision that had hindered Kashmir's integration with the rest of India. They claimed it had prevented economic development, encouraged separatism, and fueled corruption. Along with revoking Article 370, the government also passed the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. This act bifurcated the state into two separate union territories: Jammu and Kashmir, which would have a legislative assembly. As of late 2025, the situation in Kashmir remains complex and fragile. The security lockdown that followed the 2019 changes has been eased, but a heavy military presence remains. While the Indian government points to a decrease in large-scale militant violence and street protests, the region is far from normal. There is a sense of unease and political uncertainty among the population of the Kashmir Valley. The promised wave of economic development and private investment has been slow to materialize. The mainstream political process has been stalled, with many local leaders feeling sidelined since the abrogation of Article 370. The government has held local elections, but the restoration of statehood and a full-fledged legislative assembly remains a future promise. First, there needs to be a genuine and sustained dialogue between India and Pakistan. The ceasefire agreement that was renewed in February 2021 showed that communication is possible. Second, any solution must address the aspirations of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Creating an environment free from fear and repression is essential for this.